Hey guys, Desolate Magic here, and I figured it's the perfect time for a follow-up on the arena changes. So, this isn't just my opinion. I've been talking to people on Discord, on all kinds of social media, other creators, random people in my comment section, commenting on the videos that first announced it. And the first video where I covered, the matchmaking changes and all that, actually, it's multiple videos, a lot of people had a lot to say, but even I, at that point, had not actually tried it. I just looked at the charts and was like, okay. So now that, I've had time to rank up, rank down, am I winning, am I not, does it seem fair, how is the matchmaking in reality versus what they actually said, and have they fixed the shuffler? Well, keeping in typical Desolator Magic fashion, let's go in completely reverse order and answer the last question first. Did they fix the shuffler? Does it look like they fixed the damn shuffler? They have not fixed a damn thing. That happened in the same day, so I would say within 10 to 15 games. Both of those were, I do believe, before turn 5. One of them was my opening hand. The probability of that happening naturally is somewhere between 1 in 100,000 and 1 in a million. So they have not fixed the shuffler. See, everybody says, but that's a sample size of 1. That's how that works. You can take a sample size of 1 when astronomically impossible odds happen twice. If you want to know if something's truly 50-50, you better get a huge sample size. Like we're talking 100 would be nice, but you only need a sample size of 1 if unbelievably improbable things happen in like almost sequence, or really at all. I mean, someone wins the Powerball, but if you were to take an individual who bought a ticket and say, did you win? The answer is no. So anyway, the shuffler still groups cards, and for some reason there's some kind of weird mana draw riggage. Accidental or by design, I don't know. What I know is that my white deck that runs 18 lands, I might have bumped it up to 19 to try to screw with it. Every single game, literally 100% of the games that I play with it, I will draw 50% lands. So by the time I either win or lose, I look and I'm like, okay, 42 cards left in the deck. Cool. 18 cards were drawn total. I have 9 lands in play. That's half the lands in the deck with most of the deck remaining. Consistently every single game that happens. I don't know what it is, if they're trying to help me out, if they're trying to screw me over, but with land draws, I don't know. Now there was a sample size of like 8 games, but I mean that's enough at that level to determine a pattern. So randomization, RNG as they call it, random number generation, it's still broken. The only question is it a defect where they're being grouped too closely together and they're repeating seeds or something like that, or there's some kind of weird thing because it's just a giant equation. There's like a flaw in the equation where the seeds on the millisecond on the clock, which is where they get them from, are wrong. Or if the server is making too many readings from the clock simultaneously and not realizing that the same seed is going to the same person. I mean, I don't know. I don't code stuff like that, but I do know how it works. So something is either wrong and they don't know how to fix it, or it's wrong on purpose and they're rigging it. The game certainly seems to know who it wants to win, I'm just saying, but I mean, humans like to see patterns where there's not and intent where there's not, so who knows. So anyway, RNG is garbage. So back to the actual matchmaking change. Well, first of all, some advice. If you're having trouble proceeding in gold, just play literally anything else, free play, whatever, just do the dailies, just who cares, for like a week or two. Because it is almost impossible to not proceed through silver. I do believe 1 win is +2 and a loss is -1. So unless you're basically the worst player ever with the most garbage decks ever, you're going to get to gold eventually. So within several weeks, like probably a week from now, maybe 2 weeks from now, everyone is going to be gold who's reasonably okay at the game. I mean, even by sheer brute force of the math behind it, really bad players will still make it to gold eventually. So if you want to be in gold 5 and 4, or no, not 5, 4 and 3, and playing up against people who are maybe not the absolute top elite players in the entire world, just wait. It's that simple, because as more people pile into gold and they did it slower, they're worse and so are their decks. Now, personally, I had a lot of trouble getting out of gold 4. Oh my gosh. I was winning and losing about 50% of my games. And I really want to get to platinum by like, January, was it 14th-ish, something like that, when they terminate this pre-season thing. Because that's when they hand out prizes. And I'm really close on gold too. And all I did was just kind of chill, do some free play, whatever, make sure I didn't derank, maybe work on my decks a little bit, just tighten them up, choose which decks are absolutely the best against the meta. I even switched up which one I was primarily playing with. I even changed the structure of it too, and then I came back and I noticed my opponents are significantly worse than they were a couple days ago. That's because a lot of people have made it to middle gold. You know, instead of just the absolute best people like in the first couple days. Like I know pretty much everybody knows gold on like day 2. So that is my advice. The longer you wait, the easier it will be to proceed through gold. So if you're getting aggravated of not going anywhere, just stay away from it for a while. Also, the matchmaking. So with the target moving, because more and more people are piling into gold, it's hard to say, but I've got to say, I didn't love it, but I also kind of didn't like the old system either. It depended upon how it rigged it, when, and why. And by rigged it, I mean your opponent. Because see, no matter what I did with 3 decks, there were 3 decks that I owned where I would always, and I mean literally 100% of the time, get matched up against somebody my tier or 1 or 2 higher, usually 2 higher. So I'd be in bronze 4 and I'd be going up against bronze 2 every single game with that deck. Because remember, it was your rank, your MMR, whatever the hell that is, and your deck strength. And I was getting really sick of that because it was impossible to proceed past bronze. It couldn't be done. If your decks were too good, they would hold you back like 5 tiers in the rankings. And that's why it was so broken and people hated it so much. So now it's almost too easy to get to gold, but I think gold is where they want people to be because think about it, it's basically right in the middle. It kind of makes sense. And if you're absolutely horrific at the game, you'll get stuck in silver. And the prizes aren't that different between, honestly, bronze, silver, gold, and platinum or whatever the hell's next. I think they add like a pack and a couple coins, which like you could get in like a day and a half of playing. Like literally when Monday rolls around, you could get more prizes than you could or about the same prizes as you could getting platinum in an entire month. So don't get hung up on that. I mean, I want to do well just to do well. Like I want to get to a certain plateau just to say I did and like whatever, but don't get too hung up on the prizes. Except for qualifying for the Mythic Championship. That's crazy. But I've got to say, like day 3 and 4 after the update, when I got to gold and I was trying to move out of the lowest gold tier, as soon as I got there, oh my gosh, was I going up against the best players making 0 mistakes with not messing around decks. The really cool thing was, it was kind of like playing at my old LGS from hell. That came out wrong and could have been phrased better. The cool thing about it was that everybody is super, super good, and once in a while there's a high deck variety because we had some serious deck builders there. So in gold tier 4 and 3 or whatever, I'm sure I keep calling it 5, you know, the lower ones, I was going up against a huge variety, and it's because you didn't fall into that stupid rut of I'm playing Simic with Explorer, so I'm going up against same color mirror matches because the deck strength is the same, and then we're both bronze 3, so oh boy, looks like I'm going up against the same deck over and over and over and over and over. Or like the same 3 decks. That was annoying, and whether I could beat them or not, it didn't matter because it's just boring. Now it's a huge variety of decks because everybody's trying to shift the meta, and everybody knows it's like a rock, paper, scissors in tier 1, but then, what beats them? You know, let's say there's 3 tier 1 decks, because there kind of are. What beats 2 of them? And then somebody will play that, and then, they'll do really, really well, and then it's a really tight deck. So you end up with like this meta where it's like an anti-tier 1 meta. And then you got people looking at that whole scene, which is like 6 or 7 decks, and looking at, what deck beats the majority of what I'm playing against across the board, because now I'm playing against both of those equally. So then you tack on like 4 more decks. So I have seen it all. I have played up against the tightest, most elite, perfected version of every archetype that you could possibly imagine that isn't complete garbage. So that's cool because you never know who you're going to play up against. There's no stupid repeats. There's no stupid patterns. There's no playing up against the damn same deck over and over and over. But on the flip side, it's really good decks and really good players. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, depending upon my mood, that's either totally up my alley or totally pissing me off. If I'm just like, I'm going to get to gold 3 if it kills me, let's do this. I don't want to play against decks that are my same skill level, and I don't want to play against players that are my same skill level, because I'm pretty confident in my deck, and I'm pretty confident that if there was a random number generator and it chose a random Magic player in the world, I would beat them. Not many people have a deck that's that tuned and play that well, except for literally all my opponents in the Gold League, so it was unrealistic, like if you were to compare it to my new FNM or some more casual stores I played at. You guys know if your FNM is more casual, it's newer people and that kind of stuff for people that aren't like turbo hardcore serious. If you find some crazy deck and you are winning with it, you are going to keep winning with it. You're probably going to win 80% of your matches just because that's just what it is. But in the Gold League, it's just photocopy and clone yourself. So like I said, I mean, playing up against an equal skill level, it should sound fair and it should be fair, but on the flip side, I'm trying to proceed and make it to Platinum. So like I said, not always my cup of tea. It's kind of aggravating, but I'm also getting used to it. Like if you just drop it, you're like, it would be nice if I made it to Platinum. If I even win 60% of my matches, I am going to slowly proceed through Gold, technically. And if you're like chill about it, it's more fun because it's not just absolute blowout games. Whereas, blowout games, the only thing you could focus on and have fun with is, oh, look how much I'm progressing. Look how much I'm going up tiers. Ooh, lucky me, yay. Ooh, I'm getting coins at a really rapid rate. Well, like, okay. But really fair and balanced matches are kind of fun too to me most of the time. So like I said, I'm on the fence. Really depends on the type of day I had, my current mood, and what my goal is. If I'm just playing for fun and watching Netflix and like whatever, it's cool to go up against people who don't make bonehead mistakes. But on the flip side, boy, if you want to progress, you better play perfectly and select your deck carefully. And that's the last thing I wanted to hit on. There are 3 decks that I will play in the Gold League, and that's it. My other ones are not, or actually 4 decks. My other ones are not good enough. It's just that simple. They're tough, they're well made, and they win a lot, but they're not quite gold material. I know that at best I'll win 50% of my games, probably less, which means I'm going to D-rank to oblivion. So in order to get to Platinum, assuming that I care about it, I need to play with one deck over and over and over, honestly, right now, because my other 2 are like good. It's just I know for a fact that my red-black deck is the best matchup. It's the most effective. It's the best mid-range. It's just the most likely to win by a tiny margin over my Simic Cloner deck and my Bluebirds deck and my Bolas deck. Those are the 4, by the way. They're all good enough to compete in Gold, and they're all like a little bit more likely to win than not, but my black-red deck, I wouldn't say it's on an entire new level. It's just maybe it has an extra 5% edge. So I've been progressing quicker with it, and it's a better matchup for who I tend to be playing against. So if you want the rush and the intensity and the skill level of playing in ranked play, but you also want, deck building creativity and all that, you just have to not play ranked. Which, I mean, if you've got a new deck idea, why would you jump into ranked anyway? That's why I said when they made unranked free play, I'm like, good, it's about damn time, because I would come up with a new deck and I'd be like bronze 2, and by the time I'm done testing it, I'll be bronze 4. There was no way to test a deck and perfect it and change the cards around, except for going on X-Mage, which is what I would usually do. Until I just said screw it and gave up and stopped giving a crap about my rank, which is what literally everybody did. That's why they called this new update Rank Matters, because before, rank didn't matter and everybody was bronze. So it's both a pro and a con of the new system that, like, you can't just bring whatever you want cool new deck into ranked, but, like, on the flip side, why the hell would you do that? I mean, test it out in free play until you think it's good enough, and then go to ranked. Now, I think some people are so fed up with ranked, they just cannot get off of Gold 4. They can't do it. And so they bring their hyper powerful, crazy good deck, but not quite good enough, or their skill level involved, to free play. And you think free play are just a bunch of noobs. They're new to the game. The decks are crap. People are testing out stuff. And now deck power is not a thing. They don't consider it at all. First of all, that's not true. They do consider it for free play, I do believe, at least in some formats that aren't events, I think. But regardless, it's not as severe as it was before. It's not as prevalent. But the point is, I'm getting sick of going to free play with some gimmicky, stupid deck, or just, I want to play a dumb deck that I know is weaker. And then I go up against, like, these insane decks, just like crazy high power. And then, the argument could be made, well, it's free play. Who cares if you win or lose? Me, because I'm highly competitive, even if there's literally nothing on the line at all. I'm playing to win. I ain't playing for my health. Okay, I'm just saying. Unless I want some ridiculously gimmicky, stupid combo to go off, and I don't care if I lose 90% of my games, because I just want to take a screenshot of like, haha, 500 life. Like, if I'm just dicking around, whatever, but it's still actually kind of annoying to see. It's such a ridiculous matchup in deck power. Like, I go to free play to have lower powered decks. If I wanted to play up against high powered decks, I'd go to ranked. But the whole point about rank is your rank. So I could see people saying, yeah, that's an invalid complaint. And yeah, I mean, I can see both sides of it. So overall, huge improvement. Oh, one more little annoyance about free play. People forfeit way too easily because there are zero consequences. None whatsoever. And people mull to 5 and be like, this ain't worth my time. Boom, forfeit, go on to the next game. I mean, hell, I do that. Normally I'd be like, well, I better see if I can at least pull it off. Maybe the first 3 turns I'll draw my way out of this mull to 5 nonsense, and, maybe I'll pull my second land. Because I know it's going to be a hit to my rank in the old system if I forfeit, so I might as well at least try. Now it's just like, who cares? But it's free play. It kind of comes with the free play. Like, people care less about who wins, so yeah, people forfeit real easy. I've seen people just get frustrated by what they drew, and they're just like, they're dropping left and right. It's like, you're at 18 life, I'm at 9, and you're just mad that you top deck 3 lands. You literally could legitimately still win. I would almost put you at above 50% chance of winning still because your deck's a perfect match for mine, and you're forfeiting because you're mad about 3 lands. Well, boo-hoo, princess, play it out. Like, people legit are getting a little weird with the concede button. Either that or they're just like, oh, my roast in the oven is done. Bye, forfeit. I've had a couple people forfeit while they're winning. Like, how else would you explain that other than something is done cooking? Maybe their kid started crying. I don't know. Maybe their wife's home. Who knows? Could be anything. So it really comes down to, like, minor complaints that really could be also interpreted as it's different and I don't like different. It's not intrinsically worse, the things that I don't like. It's just it's subtle little things that can rub me the wrong way in some cases. And I think from what I've talked about with other people, totally in line with what they're all saying. I mean, I would say that my opinion of Arena and the changes and what I do like and don't like are 100% in line with like 95% of the people I talk to. But at the end of the day, the consensus seems to be, yes, it is a large improvement. People like it. The matchmaking is more diverse, a little bit more fun, a little bit more fair. And there's no just anomalous patterns of just playing the same decks over and over and over and weird interpretations of your deck power where there's these huge swings in opponent skill, like there was with my mono blue deck. Or like on live stream where we went up against another mono blue deck 4 times in a row because I was playing mono blue. I switched decks and then played against like Red Rush 3 times in a row. So I'm so done with that. Yeah, kiss that old system goodbye. So that's why, like, overall this is a big improvement. So anything you notice, any little weird patterns, quirks, any changes, any subtle things that you think they're doing in the background, any suspicious things that are going on that don't appear random, leave them down in the comment section. Otherwise, just your opinion. What do you like? What do you not like? Is it improvement? Is it not? I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next. I literally forgot the last word of that phrase as I was saying it. It's like 2 a.m. I legit was going to say audio recording because that's what I'm doing right now. Whatever the hell this is that you're watching, a video perhaps, thanks for doing it. I already forgot the entire ending. Screw it, I'm copying line. Okay, bye. Okay.